No, but I'm saying that I think that we need to discuss on tips and tricks of what to do,
What?
just to buy, things like that.
No one has money
But you don't need money.
to
I
buy a
mean,
house.
I'm getting somebody into a house right
I
now for
can't buy a house.
$2,500. $2,500. That's what he's spending. $2,500 out of his pocket.
Okay, that's
You
not
know,
enough.
but it's just that I think people don't. I think they just don't know what to do right now.
Okay.
It was very simple 18 months ago.
Yeah.
Hey, just offer so much more over asking price and don't ask the seller to pay anything and you can buy a house.
Let's talk about it.
Yep. Okay. All right. Hello, Austin, Texas. You're listening to the Home Team with Troy and Wyatt, where we bring sports and money together for your education and entertainment. If you have any questions about anything we say today, please reach out to me at loansfromtroy.com or give me a call at 855-299-HOME. And as always, this segment is brought to you by Security National Mortgage, where we turn houses into homes by financing
Your.
American Dream.
That was so positive. Yeah.
Yes, it was.
You got into your head.
Yeah,
Think
I'm
about
like-
this next segment.
I'm like, yeah, I'm excited. First of all,
It's changed.
yeah, the Home Team 512 is our Facebook page,
Okay.
right? And that's where most people are gonna be able to get a hold of the infamous, the one, the only, the Wyatt.
The white.
Yes, and so he will be responding to all complaints
That is not
about
true.
that previous segment,
That is not true.
on that page.
That's not true. That is not true. We don't get complaints.
Yeah, well, that's
We don't get complaints. I don't get complaints.
well, that's because you don't give out your phone number over and over and over again.
That's probably right.
855-299-HOME. But the last segment was it's a little different, but we definitely talked about some things that are important to the greater Austin community. And it affects things like that affect one thing in the greater Austin community, which is real estate.
It does. So everyone, okay, real quick. Right now, your typical person out there in Austin, the United States for that fact, is worn out. Man, they're worn out. They're worn out. They're hot. It's been too hot in most places. Their job security is not there or where it once was. They've either been laid off and hired back for less amount of money. They've lost their job. Mm-hmm. If they still have their job, their money's not going as far, right?
Mm-hmm.
Things are more expensive.
Groceries, people, they use it month over month, but when you had like 10 months of 8+% inflation rate,
Yeah.
I mean, groceries are 30 to 40%. Like if you spent
Yeah.
$300
Right.
a year and a half ago, you spend like $550 now.
Well,
On the same stuff.
hopefully they've done all these increases so that the election year they can take them all back down, right? We don't know that
Well,
but
it's not that they'll take them back down. It's just that I think they'll spin the economy up
Right.
so that you can afford the things. Because if you have to think, they never lower the cost. They just raise the ability to buy it,
Well-
right? Because once a company is making X amount on that product, they're never not going to sell it for that amount.
right. Well, they have to make
Except for Tesla. He's the only one that just goes up and down. It's like, I have 40 grand this month. We'll take 35 off next month.
I love them though.
Yeah.
But you have all these people stressed out right now. I mean, you're just worn out, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're emotionally worn out. You're physically worn out. I mean, so you don't believe that you can get into a house. You can't, do some of the things that you were planning on doing in your 5-year plan. Kind of got screwed up this year, and so it's actually a great time to buy a house. But I get why people are so worn out. They don't even want to hear. They said everything you pull up on the screens are all negative, and interest rates are soaring higher than they've ever been, and 30 years. I mean, it's just all these grandiose things. So it's hard for people to understand that this is actually a good time to buy a house.
That's the thing. We've had appreciation in the United States 6 months in a row. Right. So the housing market's going to collapse concept. We've gone over that. I mean, we have, I don't want to say but we have definitely gone over that. Right. That there is not enough inventory. There are too many new first-time home buyers, and the people that own homes aren't selling them. So we are in a dire housing inventory shortage crisis. It's plain and simple.
There's only 500 homes in Austin right now, under 450,000.
Yeah, and 500 total. Yeah. And let's think about this. There are 78 million millennials and like 60% of them are now in the buying age. So that's like 50 something million people. They're building 700,000 new homes
That's
a
nationwide.
year
Nationwide.
in the entire country.
Only
And
700,000. Wait a minute, I thought it was like 3 million.
they were making like $1.5 million. 3 million was in 2008.
Okay.
They were $1.4 million, $1.5 million is a good number. Well, and that's where we were tracking at the beginning of the year. Now that the cost has gotten so high, they're building less. Right.
Well, material costs has come down, but the value of the dollar has gone
And
down as well.
yes, and the interest rate has gone up.
Right.
So, they have to finance, these costs.
Sure, builders and what have you.
Builders
Sure.
have to finance this cost. Well, now
Right.
their costs have tripled. Their finance charges tripled. So if you were spending $1,000, you're now spending $3,000 a month.
And
As
plus,
an example.
all these builders are trying to get rid of the inventory that they got stuck with for a while.
Yep.
And they're trying to get out of this
Yeah.
hole that was dug around them. So yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, and so, so there's the property values are not going to fall. So let's just, if you need any understanding of that, please reach out to me, 855-299-HOME.
I thought property values have gone down there a little bit.
But no, the median sales price has gone down. That means they're selling more homes below.
Okay.
If you look, whatever you're selling your house for, it's more than last year. Austin is anywhere from 3 to 9% appreciation, depending on which appreciations. I said appreciation, which service you use. Zillow says it's close to 10. FHFA says it's right at about 3.6. So there's a lot. So that's the middle. Those are the models.
Okay.
So pick whichever one you want. We're at 4% or we're at 9%. Just pick one. But we're growing up. We're going up. So that's not. So waiting on a home because it's coming down is not really the option. So, but you're being beaten down left and right because you're being told that everything's unaffordable, right? Okay. So in our next segment, we're going to go over income and expenses, and we're going to show that you can lower your expenses by $400 or $500 pretty easily, right? $400 or $500. We can lower that right out of your total money out your expenditures, right?
By not eating or putting gas in your car?
Well, no, by not wasting money on $7. It's no longer $5 cup of coffee. It's $7 cup of coffee for the same. Because I finally bought one again. It's been like a year since I bought a Starbucks. It's the same coffee I buy, $7 now. It was $5.20 now. It's $7.
Is that like a latte, mate?
Yeah, I'm just saying. I buy one cup of coffee. I buy one style there, and I buy it obviously now it's been like a year.
That's not a black cup of coffee.
No, but it's you go to Starbucks, you buy it's a $7 cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Cutting stuff like that out, right? So that's how we can we'll show you that. But what's important is your house may cost you $600 to $800 more this year than last year, but in 2 years from now you can cut that out, right? You can cut that funds right out when the rate comes back down.
In 6 months again.
But
The rate goes down.
59% of America, right? Of American adults, 18 and above, 59% have less than $10,000 saved. 60% of America basically can't make it 2 months. Period.
I mean, that
60% of America.
I mean, that clocks for me. It makes sense.
That's what I'm saying is that how everybody's like, buy a house. The house appreciates. You pay down the principal balance. You are creating a retirement account just by owning a home. Buy a house in
versus renting,
yes,
absolutely.
buying a house in your 30s, late 30s, early 40s, and keeping it until you retire.
So we're speaking to first-time home buyers.
Or to anybody. I'm speaking to 60% of America. 60% of America does not have $10,000 saved.
But they don't own their own home.
Well, that's
So what I'm saying is, you're speaking to people who don't own a home, but have less than $10,000.
Yeah, which is I mean, that's a lot of Americans.
Right.
And so, but the thing is like I said, if you can't, it's harder to save money than it is to build equity. First of all, the equity builds itself.
Right. Well, you have to spend that whether you're renting or you're spending it no matter what.
Yeah.
And if you're going to add in another $250, right? That money's going to you. It's not going into the wind. So by all intents and purposes, rent's going to go up too.
Yeah.
Right. So if
rent's going up,
going up
3 to 7% a month or a year.
The person you're renting from has to also pay a higher mortgage.
Yeah.
Right?
Higher taxes, property taxes.
And when they refinance, which they might have to, because a lot of these people are in trouble themselves just because they own rental homes or what have you, doesn't mean that they're not going through it as well, right? They have to pay their bills, and their interest rates are going to go up. Yes, they might have gotten a good interest rate, so it is a good time. Like you said, if you don't own a home, shoot, you need to buy a house.
Like I said, most people they can't save because of most of the time people can't save because of all of the subliminal raising that they've received and they don't even know it. Right. Most people are trained to spend their money.
Right.
They're just trained to spend their money. They're trained to keep up with the Joneses, whatever you want to call it. But we have been induced by the marketing companies of America. I mean, Facebook, they call it sticky, right? Because they makes you don't realize you get into Facebook and it's like 2 hours later you're like, what happened to my day, right? Because they have programmed it to be sticky so that it keeps dragging you in deeper and deeper. Same thing with marketing and spending your expenses and stuff like that. So what you need to do is if you can't save the money, buy a home.
Let me call you.
Yes, yeah, buy the home and use the appreciation, use the principal reduction as your forced retirement. I mean, it makes, and it doesn't. You don't have to do all the crazy things that you had to do 2 years ago. You don't have to spend $50,000. You don't have to pay for title and pay for all your closing and send the realtor to Cabo. You don't have to do any of that.
Okay, so what about the people who lost their jobs, right? And they have a new job, but it took 3 months to get a new job. What does that look like for them to get a loan? There's a lot of people out there right now.
Depends. And were they able to keep their credit up in those 3 months?
Okay.
If they'd been listening to us and had 3 months of reserve.
So the credit's good, and they had 3 months and they got laid off. They can still get a loan.
Yeah, as long as it's when they go over 6 months of job gap.
Okay.
They have to be back on the job for 6 months.
Okay.
So that's the important thing. But yeah, so it's I'm
just speaking to all the people. There's different variables about there. And, a lot of people are hurting out there, but the main thing is they need to give you a call because there is a way to get in the house.
Absolutely. 855-299-HOME is the best way. You get a hold. Nikki picks up that phone almost all the time. I mean, like 24/6. Or 22/6.
Oh, I like that.
I can give her 26. 26.
Okay.
Yeah, that was two difference. Not
I get it.
Not the year 26.
I'm there. I'm there.
Absolutely, and she'll take all the information and get you an appointment with me, and then we'll go from there. But hey, the most important thing is to start the appreciation clock by purchasing a home. Hey, you've been listening to the Home Team with Troy and Wyatt. We hope you've enjoyed what you heard. If you have any questions, please reach out to me at loansfromtroy.com, or you can give me a call at 855-299-HOME. And as always, this segment is brought to you by Security National Mortgage, where we turn houses into homes by financing
your
American Dream. See you in a minute.